And today we are going to talk about Saint Benedict. Yes, Saint Benedict. Nope, got nothing to do with the delicious egg Benedict. The year was 480 ADs. Now, at this moment, the church, they were highly involved with the empire. Now, what does that mean? The church was involved also in politics. Now, you have watched my previous video about the Council of Chalcedon, how messy it can be, how messy the argument is, like especially when it was being ridden by the politics among the church and among the rulers. For some Christians, this is way too much to see all of this kind of like political squabbling and quarreling against like one against another, especially in the church. So some Christians, they decided to leave the city. They leave the big city, which is usually where the big church at. They decided to live outskirt of the city. And in fact, some of them, they even live in the outskirt of the civilization. They move into the desert with the purpose of staying away from the city, staying away from those kind of like crowded place. This volunteering practice is known as the asceticism. Yes, asceticism. And then it was very popular during those times, especially in the 3rd to 4th century, especially after Saint Anthony example. To those people who practice asceticism, according to them, the world is evil and the physical body is evil. What they are trying to achieve by practicing asceticism is to strengthening their spiritual aspect of their life by focusing their life into praying and reading scriptures and also fasting. What would they do is they try to deny their physical needs. Yeah, they still eat though, not a fancy food, but just a very basic food. For example, just water and bread. Bread and water. Think about that. You eat bread and water every single day. Just enough to sustain your physical need by eating bread and water. This rigorous practice of asceticism is inspired by John the Baptist and also when Jesus was fasting for about 40 days. One of the person who make this movement become popular is someone by the name of Saint Anthony. He practiced asceticism somewhere in the 3rd century and then he gained popularity, and then later on the movement will also be followed by many people. Some of this practice of asceticism, they took it really into an extreme. For example, someone by the name of Simeon, Saint Simeon, he practiced asceticism, well, by living on top of a platform, on top of a pole. That is one of the example of the practice of asceticism. Because remember, the point of having asceticism lifestyle is to separate themselves away from the world because they think the world is sinful and the world is evil. Now Benedict, he was a wealthy Roman family. He went to school in Rome. Benedict was known as a very devoted Christian. He was diligently read his Bible and after that pray every day and he loved study. Now one day while he was studying in Rome in the year of 455 AD, the city of Rome was ransacked by the barbarians for the second time. 45 years before, they were being invaded by the Visigoth. Now this time on 455 AD, they were invaded by the Vandals. I mentioned about the Vandals on my other videos. The Vandals, these are like the masters of the North African. They migrate all the way from the northern part of Europe all the way to the North Africa and then using the city of Carthage as their pirate base. If you also watch my video about St. Augustine, it was the Vandal is the one who conquered the city of Hippo and the rest of the North Africa. So with the fall of Rome in the hands of the Vandals, the orderliness of the city was in chaos. There was no law, there was no orderliness, everything is in chaos. It was a common thing to be seen on the street, violence upon violence, and then lots of evil things happens in the city of Rome because of lack of authority and orderliness that is being destroyed by the Vandals as the Vandals ransacked the city. And for Benedict, of course, it was shocking and also it was terrifying at the same time. Benedict decided to leave the city of Rome because he could not stand anymore with the violence and with all of the evil deeds happened in the city. He moved to one of the hills in Rome. He lived there in a hill, secluded away from the city, separated away from the crowd, living as a hermit. He practiced an asceticism. Every day, he pray and read his Bible. And soon, he became also popular. The rumor spread across the region that there was this a holy person, there was this good person and righteous person who lived in the Sabine Hill, someone by the name of Benedict. Now many people come to him for counseling. Many people come to him asking for help to be prayed for. Of course, as he gained more popularity, he gained also followers. One followers, two become five, five becomes 10, 10 become 20, 20 become 100, and so on. So as the numbers of the followers are gaining up, Benedict at first, he felt irritated by these followers because it's very disrupting him from reading his Bible and also praying. But of course, Benedict is a good guy. He cannot just like simply kind of like, shoo them away. Go, go, shoo, leave me alone. He wouldn't do that. So he decided to live together with all of his followers, practicing asceticism together as a community, as a brothers and sisters. And Benedict realized that it's so much better to practice asceticism together with brothers and sisters as a community. Soon as the numbers getting bigger and bigger, they realized that they need to settle down to a place. They moved to one of the mountain, somewhere in between Rome and Naples, a place by the name of Monte Cassino. There in Monte Cassino, there was this abandoned temple for Apollo. Benedict and his followers tore down the temple and then using the stone as the material to build the first monastery in history. Together with his followers, together with his brothers and sisters, they built a monastery, a place where they can stay. Now, yes, I'm sorry, I keep saying like, brothers and sisters. Now, at this moment, of course, Benedict make a rules that the men must be separated from the females. So the female, they will have their own places. They will live separately, and the men, they will live also separately. They are not going to meet up each other's. Okay, it's a no-no. Now, if you think like living in a monastery, that means it's just like a living in a kind of like a fancy hotel, which is going to be fun and you can do whatever things you want to do, then you are wrong. Benedict made the monastery with rules. Benedict set a rules and regulations to live in the monastery. There was this kind of like rules that everybody who live in the monastery have to follow. For example, they are being required to wear particular clothes. They are also being regulated how to use their times in a day. In the morning, they will pray, and after that, they will go to work, and after that, they will pray some more, and after that, they will have another work, and after that, they will have a break, and after that, they will have another prayer, and after that, they will have another work, and they will have also another time for study, and after that, they will have a time for rest. Everything is regulated in a schedule, a very strict schedule that everybody have to follow. Not just that one, Benedict, he also regulate on what kind of food that they eat. If we have to summarize all of these rules and regulations, then Benedict's regulation will be boiled down into three things. The three vow of monasticism. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you like what is monasticism. Yes, monasticism is taken from the word monastery. It's a little bit similar with asceticism, but if you pay attention to the details, asceticism practice is more about like doing it in isolation. For the monasticism, the essence is the same. They are trying to separate from the world, but they're not going to live alone. They live together with the brothers as a community. So one can help another one. So one brother can help another. Now, okay, go back to this three vow of monasticism. These vows are vow of chastity, vow of poverty, and vow of obedience. I'm going to explain each about these vows. Vow of chastity, that means every monks, they must remain pure and they may not have a wife. And the second one is the vow of poverty. They have to leave every possession they have, their house, their clothes, their toys, their money, and everything behind. And the moment that they join the monastery, all of those things must be left behind or maybe donated to the poor or to the needy, and then he will carry with him nothing, maybe just a cloth. Now, the vow of obedience, every monk who join the monastery, they have to strictly follow the law. They have to follow the rules gladly, without questioning. Well, Actually, yeah, of course, they can question. But then again, first they have to obey and then they can question later. And then the abbot here is the highest. And the abbot here is the highest authority. Of course, the abbot himself, he does not mean he act like whatever things that he want. The abbot also have to follow the rules. Do not imagine that this monk is just praying and then read the Bible every day and then the whole day. No, they are not. They are also preoccupied with works. These monks were regulated with lots of activities, such as farming, cooking, cleaning, copying the books, studying, and also gardening. And even some of the monastery, they are extending their work to help another people, by building hospitals and hotels. I kept mentioning about the rules and the regulations in the monastery, but please do not imagine that these rules and regulations are something that kind of like oppress all of these monks. No, it's not. The purpose of these rules and the regulation is to train the monks physically and also spiritually for the missions of God on earth, which is to bring good news, to become the salt and the light for the world. Yes, that is the beauty about the monastery. They are not being secluded, far away from the world, disconnected with the world, and then they're living in their own bubble. No, they are not. It was a training ground for these monks to be useful for the world around them. Now, one of the greatest contributions that this monastery had is the knowledge. Now, let me explain it. As the world of Rome in the 5th century is crumbling down, as they were being invaded by barbarians, the Western world was in the risk of losing all of this rich culture. Now, one of the most important job that these monks did in the monastery is to copying the books, copying the manuscript. It was because of this monk that this monk diligently, they copied the Bible from the old manuscript into the new manuscript. They diligently and they are meticulously and very detailed. They copy every word, every letter, exactly, from manuscript to another piece of paper. They will write every day copying the Bible. And not just the Bible, and also some ancient Greek and Romans literatures. Some of the ancient Greek and Romans knowledge, they copied as well, and then they kept it in their library. Now, it was because of this monastery that somehow you know how to read, we know how to read, and look all around you guys. Somehow, I think I made a video about it. There are some of the things that we learn from the Romans, we learn from the Greeks. Now, without this monastery, without the help of these monks, then the knowledge about this Greek civilization, the knowledge about this Roman civilization will be completely lost, as the Western world itself, as the Western Rome during those times was crumbling down under the hands of the barbarians who are neglecting the importance of this knowledge. To put it this way, this monastery taking a role as the guardian of the knowledge and the culture. Now, of course, later on, these monks, they are gladly teaching the knowledge. They're gladly passing down the knowledge that they kept in their library to the younger generation, to the children, to barbarian kingdoms around them. This, what the Roman called them as the barbarian, they too, they become Christian. So this monastery and the monks, they give a chance for these new nations. The Romans consider them as the barbarians, a chance for them to being exposed to the Word of God, being exposed to the ancient Roman and Greek culture. Alright, until next time, I see you guys. Bye-bye. God bless you guys all.